Will we take artificial intelligence seriously? Everyone seems to love the likes of ChatGPT, just one wholesome and friendly sounding manifestation of what is surely the greatest technological revolution of our time, or perhaps anyone's time. Who doesn't like to chat, after all? I hear from university students who tell me their colleagues routinely use AI to write their essays for them and reap the coveted top marks as a result. There being no such thing as a free lunch, however, we really should wonder what price must be paid for what presents itself like a genie from a bottle, come to grant wishes. David Icke took to X this week to draw attention to the firing of the head of the United States Copyright Office on the orders of President Trump. Quote, "Are you getting it yet?" Icke asked. Shira Perlmutter, fired by Trump after report questioning Musk and the AI cabal getting access for free to copyright material to train their AI, he posted. The report Icke mentioned is titled Copyright and Artificial Intelligence. And here I can quote it saying in the introduction, the groundbreaking technologies involved draw on massive troves of data, including copyrighted works, to enable the extraordinary capabilities they now offer to the public. Do any of the acts involved require the copyright owner's consent or compensation? And to the extent they do, how can that feasibly be accomplished? These issues are the subject of intense debate. Dozens of lawsuits are pending in the United States focusing on the application of copyright's fair use doctrine. Legislators around the world have proposed or enacted laws regarding the use of copyrighted works in AI training, whether to remove barriers or impose restrictions. The stakes are high and the consequences are often described in existential terms. Some warn that requiring AI companies to license copyrighted works would throttle a transformative technology because it's not practically possible to obtain licenses for the volume and diversity of content necessary to power cutting-edge systems. Others fear that unlicensed training will corrode the creative ecosystem, with artists' entire bodies of works used against their will to produce content that competes with them in the marketplace. The public interest requires striking an effective balance, allowing technological innovation to flourish while maintaining a thriving creative community. End quote. Say the language used in Shira Perlmutter's report sounds very even-handed, at once acknowledging the transformative potential of AI while seeking to protect the rights of authors, filmmakers and others in the so-called creative industries. After all, why take the months or years to write a book only to have it instantly cannibalised by AI, having all that effort rendered worthless in a nanosecond, AI taking and giving nothing in return? Why create anything new if creating is your livelihood? If any potential earnings from that creation are instantly hijacked in their entirety by AI's insatiable appetites? And yet David Icke is correct when he reports Perlmutter was sacked as head of the US Copyright Office after submitting the report in question. An article in Politico had it that, quote, the White House contacted Register of Copyright's Shira Perlmutter Saturday afternoon, informing her that her job leading the US Copyright Office had been terminated. Federal law provides that the Register of Copyrights be appointed by and supervised by the Librarian of Congress, which is a position that requires presidential nomination and Senate confirmation. The previous Librarian of Congress, Carla Hayden, was fired Thursday by the White House with no reason provided in a 2-sentence email. Joe Morell, the top Democrat on the House Administration Committee, which oversees the Library of Congress and US Copyright Office, is alleging it is, quote, no coincidence Trump acted less than a day after Perlmutter refused to rubber stamp Elon Musk's efforts to mine troves of copyrighted works to train AI models. Perlmutter and her office issued a lengthy report about artificial intelligence that included some questions and concerns about the usage of copyrighted materials by AI technology, an industry which Musk is heavily involved in. This action once again tramples on Congress's Article 1 authority and throws a trillion-dollar industry into chaos. Morell continued in a statement, "When will my Republican colleagues decide enough is enough?" End quote. Events like these might sound fringe, niche, and therefore readily to be overlooked as someone else's problem. It seems to me, however, that Perlmutter's report struck the right note in describing the matter as existential. AI has already hoovered up the entire sum of humanity's wisdom to date. When ChatGPT and the like answer questions or write essays or entire books or produce moving images so perfect we can't tell the difference, it's accomplishing its apparent miracles by repurposing in an instant the efforts of millennia. As a wise man said, "We are living inside the body of a whale. There's been plenty to eat, but only because there was a whale." Having already swallowed everything humankind has created, AI, still in the training stage, AI baby steps if you will, is hungry for everything yet to be created by everyone. The Guardian newspaper in December last year carried a story headlined, "OpenAI whistleblower who died was being considered as witness against company." OpenAI is the San Francisco-based company behind the aforementioned ChatGPT, which has been available since 2022. The Guardian story reported how Suchir Balaji, a former OpenAI engineer turned whistleblower, had for 4 years been part of a team training the artificial intelligence systems behind ChatGPT, and later voiced concerns the technology was violating copyright law. According to The Guardian, Balaji was found dead in his San Francisco apartment on 26 November in what police said appeared to be a suicide. No evidence of foul play was found during the initial investigation. The city's chief medical examiner's office confirmed the manner of death to be suicide. His parents, Purnima Ramarao and Balaji Ramamurthy, said they're still seeking answers, describing their son as a happy, smart and brave young man who loved to hike and recently had returned from a trip with friends. Suchir's contributions to this project were essential and it wouldn't have succeeded without him, said OpenAI co-founder John Schulman in a social media post memorialising Balaji. Schulman, who recruited Balaji to his team, said what had made him such an exceptional engineer and scientist was his attention to detail and ability to notice subtle bugs or logical errors. He had a knack for finding simple solutions and writing elegant code that worked, Schulman wrote. He'd think through the details of things carefully and rigorously. Balaji later shifted to organising the huge data sets of online writings and other media used to train GPT-4, the fourth generation of OpenAI's flagship large language model and a basis for the company's famous chatbot. It was that work, reported The Guardian, that eventually caused Balaji to question the technology he helped build, especially after newspapers, novelists and others began suing OpenAI and other AI companies for copyright infringement. Before his death, Balaji had spoken of his willingness to testify in copyright infringement cases. Lawyers acting for the New York Times were on record describing Balaji as someone having unique and relevant documents backing claims of willful copyright infringement. It doesn't feel right to be training on people's data and then competing with them in the marketplace, Balaji told the Associated Press in the autumn of 2024. I don't think you should be able to do that. I don't think you are able to do that legally. Balaji said he had grown more and more disillusioned with OpenAI. He said, among other concerns, he was focused on copyright on the grounds it was a matter it was possible to do something about. He acknowledged that it was an unpopular opinion within the AI research community, which is accustomed to pulling data from the internet, but said, quote, "They will have to change and it's a matter of time." While Balaji's parents continue to challenge the verdict of suicide regarding their son's death, I find I am reminded once again of the infamous line in an essay published by the World Economic Forum, that one about the possible future awaiting us, in fact being prepared for us, the one in which we will own nothing and be happy. We can already see the grabbing corporate hands bundling up everything: arable land, water supplies, energy sources, anything that passes for money. The intention to do with private property, be it our homes, our cars, the whole lot of it, is increasingly apparent to those with their eyes open. The insatiable appetite won't even stop at ideas. Copyright and patents protect ideas. Without those protections, it may be made impossible to earn a living by creating new things. Even if AI is as good as they say it is, doing everything better than we puny, flawed humans can, even so, where will that leave us? In a future where everything is digital, streamed online, read online, we are at the mercy of AI. When in the future someone wants to read A Tale of Two Cities, or the Constitution of the United States of America, or the Bible, we will have to trust that the versions presented are as their creators intended and not edited to suit the masters of the future. How would we know if all we have is what AI offers? I think, therefore I am, wrote philosopher René Descartes. In a world of AI and its corporate masters, why bother?